7th ranked LSU, 10th ranked Oklahoma from L. Dale Mitchell Park on a cool, crisp evening where the wind is blowing 20+ miles an hour in. Doesn't matter, though, in this league. As you look at the D1 baseball poll, the top 10 this week features 8 SEC teams. The first time in 20 years that has happened. LSU sitting there in the 7th slot. Oklahoma at number 10. It is just going to be another great night of baseball. So glad you could join us. Dave Neal alongside former LSU great and big leaguer Todd Walker. And obviously, Todd, it seems like every time we walk into a stadium this time of the year, it seems like we have a top 10 SEC matchup. Great for us, maybe not so much for these head coaches, but there's certainly some really good baseball going on in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, two of the best programs in the country. I mean, both these teams played for a national championship within the last 3 years. Oklahoma was there in 2022. LSU wins the national championship in 2023. Two of the best starting pitchers in the league out here tonight. But it's not an offensive night. The wind's blowing in. It's cold, so it's going to be fun.
Well, how has LSU been able to do this? Obviously, they've had a 17-game win streak this year. They're 27-3, best start in 30 games in school history.
Well, they just run, hit, and throw better than anybody else. I wish I had a scientific answer for you, but the reality of it is they're just good at all facets of the game. Top 5 in the country offensively.
Well, LSU will work against one of the best pitchers going in the country. Cade Anderson, the right-hander, is undefeated this year at 5-0 on the mound. It'll be a tough test, and certainly it's a day that if you're a pitcher, it might be a little cool, but the conditions certainly favor you a little bit on the mound.
Yeah, and that's why I would think you would do more of that. Kyson Witherspoon has a fastball up to 98 miles an hour. Can throw a couple spinners at you with the slider and the curve. Top 2 in the league and strikeout to walk ratio at 6.5 to 1. 64 strikeouts, only 10 walks. So he's accurate, he's deceptive, can get a lot of swing and misses.
That one is fouled down the line off the bat of uber talented freshman Derek Curiel. There are the numbers on Witherspoon. 2.3 ERA, those 64 strikeouts. Somewhat impressive when you consider it's top 5 in the country, and his strike to walk ratio second best in the Southeastern Conference. All the numbers trend to somebody who's going to be a pretty high draft pick.
And just wears out left-handed hitters. He's only given up 1 earned run to a left-handed hitter, hitting 155 against him, which is great because obviously you can get the right-handers out with the off-speed, everything moving away from the right-handed barrel. But when you can get left-handers out, that's saying a lot about your makeup and your mentality and your arm action and the stuff that you throw at them that they can't really pick up.
Witherspoon, the junior transfer from Northwest Florida State College. That one bounces away to the backstop. 2-2 on Curiel. We talk about this LSU offense. It has been impressive. This is a lineup that's #1 in the SEC, #3 in the country in batting average at .337, and having a guy like Jared Jones hitting in the 2-hole certainly helps your case. Jones with 11 home runs waits his opportunity, and there is a called strike 3 on Derek Curiel.
And I think that gives you a little bit of an idea of how deceptive that fastball is. Now, it's got some velo behind it. But when Derek Curiel's sitting back on that curveball that he just saw bounce past the catcher, and you're sitting back as a hitter waiting on something like that, and you get a cutter right there low and in, it just freezes you up. And I'm not in the box, but Kyson clearly has some deception to him that you look for one thing, he throws the other, and you're just not able to pull the trigger.
And here is Jared Jones, the man they call Bear, the LSU first baseman, a third-year junior out of Marietta, Georgia. First pitch he sees is a swing and a miss. Jones is a tough out. 4th in the conference in home runs and RBIs. #2 in the league in hits. 5th in doubles. 5th in slugging percentage. This guy has, since his freshman year, has been playing, but his ability to control the strike zone every year has gotten better and better.
A lot of swing and miss in Jared Jones his freshman year. Of course, he played a lot. He's a big boy, 6'5", 250. But Jay Johnson told us the first year they had to clean that up going into his second year. Then he cleaned a little bit of the swing and misses out of the zone up. But now you got to face better pitching and put those guys in play. Clean that up this year, and now the average is where it is, over 400 with 9 home runs.
402 hitter on the year, 10 doubles to his credit. There's Jay Johnson, now in his 4th season as LSU skipper. National title under his belt a couple of years ago. Two strikes on Jared Jones. Fouls it back. He'll get another pitch.
And that's a pretty good indication that Jared Jones has done a lot better at cutting down his strikeouts. You've got to protect against that curveball that Kyson has. And when you're a hitter and you're sitting back looking for that curveball and he pumps that 97, 98 in there and you're able to at least get a piece of it, that's a good sign for Jared Jones, because in the past he'd wave right through it.
See what he does here with a 1-2 pitch coming from Kyson Witherspoon. Called strike three. Back-to-back strikeouts looking for Witherspoon.
It's just an impressive kid. I mean, pitched for the Olympic team this summer on the midseason Golden Spikes watch list as one of the best in the country, and you see why. I mean, he's dotted that cut around the outside corner, which means he took a little bit off that four-seam fastball, and it just, Jared Jones again for the second time in 2 hitters. I mean, this is tough to strike these guys out. Again, you're looking at one of the best offenses in the country, and so far Kyson's made 2 guys look silly.
Now the 3-hole hitter Daniel Dickinson, the second baseman, steps in. A transfer, a junior out of Utah Valley, out of Richland, Washington. Dickinson on the year, 367 average. He's got some pop in that bat with 7 homers, 36 runs batted in. Also in double figures with 10 doubles. Only one batter in this starting 9 offensively for LSU hits less than 300, and that's Luis Hernandez, the catcher, at 280.
And they've got about 3 or 4 on the bench hitting over 300. So I mean, they're loaded with talent.
27-3 are the Tigers. Their best start through 30 games since the 2013 season, and the Tigers posted a 28-2 mark through those 30 games. The 7-2 start in league play for LSU is its best conference mark through 9 games since that 2013 team, when they went 8-1. LSU riding a 5-game win streak coming into this game with Oklahoma. That ball's hit high in the air, out to left, toward the line, playable for Desan Harris, and he makes the catch at a 1-2-3 frame for Kyson Witherspoon. The Sooners grabbing their bats when we come back for the bottom of the first. There's a reason that there are 50 big league scouts here. It's because our starting pitchers are certainly guys on their radar, and Cade Anderson one of those.
We talked about Kyson Witherspoon and his resume. How about Cade Anderson? Only a sophomore. He's a draft eligible sophomore. Kylie McDaniel has him as a first-round pick as of this year. He made 9 starts last year outside of the SEC in 2024. This will be his 8th start. He's now the ace of this staff, and rightfully so. 6-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Can get some swing and misses in the zone with all that deception. And thinking along with hitters, 43% swing and misses. That's 4th in the league. He's actually better against the right-handed hitters than he is the lefties. Right-handers only hitting 190.
Look at that Oklahoma lineup. Jason Walk at the top. He has 5 home runs on the season in that leadoff spot. Easton Carmichael, their exceptional catcher, 310, 6 home runs. Christensen gets the start in right field today. Willits hitting cleanup, their shortstop. Well, their middle infield's pretty solid with Willits and Branch. Kyle Branch hitting 5th. Dickerson, Taki, Willis, and Harris round out the 9 for Skip Johnson. It is a cold, brisk evening here in Norman, and you look around, a lot of people bundled up, but there's always a couple of guys. There's a couple t-shirts out there. Don't know how long we'll see them tonight. Here's Jason Walk, the sophomore center fielder.
It's just tough to hit when it's cold. I mean, more dense air, it's, it just doesn't carry. You feel like as a hitter, you've got to do more than you actually have to. It takes you out of your technique a little bit to try to juice the ball. And if you can stay within yourself, that's the way to go, especially with this turf. It'll fly through the infield. We had some rain before the game, so it's slippery out there.
Walk had a little bit of a slump over a 4-game stretch, went an 0 for 17 run, but since game 2 of Alabama last weekend was 5 for 12, but that didn't take long for him to stroll back to that dugout. as the first strikeout of the game for Cade Anderson. That's number 62 on the year.
Well, Cade does a lot like what Kyson Witherspoon does. He gets those strike threes looking. He can think along with a hitter right about the time they're looking for off speed. He'll pump that fastball in there in a good spot. 3 of the first 4 hitters in this game have struck out looking.
Now here's Easton Carmichael. Easton, their junior catcher out of Prosper, Texas, who had a great season last year. Started 60 of 61 games for this Oklahoma team. Was a third-team All-American, first-team All-Big 12 performer as he swings through that one, hitting .310 on the year with 30 runs batted in. Had a big night on Tuesday over in Frisco, Texas, as Oklahoma took down Texas Tech. He went 3 for 5, 3 RBIs and a home run. Oklahoma coming off a series on the road at Alabama where they dropped 2 of 3, but every game was down to the wire. It was a great series between the Tide and the Sooners. There's Skip Johnson. Boy, has he got a story. You bring up any topic and he's got a story.
He's different for sure, in a good way.
Slap to the left side. Base hit for Carmichael.
Cade Anderson can get you when he gets to 2 strikes. He's a strikeout pitcher for a reason. Nice job by Easton Carmichael to stay in there on a 2-2 count. Big hole on the left side. Monster Milan was favored up the middle. A nice 1-out base hit for the 2-hole Easton Carmichael.
Oklahoma 10th in the conference as a team, hitting .298, but that'll go up. A couple of hits here to start things off. Around second comes Carmichael, and the Sooners will have him first and third as Christensen gets the base knock to the left side.
Did I mention I don't really love the shift? They had Milam on the right side of second base, and this left-handed hitter against a left-handed pitcher is probably sitting back. It's his first at bat. You don't have any timing yet, and so you're just waiting on a pitch, maybe a curveball. Gets the fastball middle in. You can't pull it. It's going the other way, and there's another base hit.
And that would have been your 6-4-3 double play, and you're in the dugout, right? Look, I just said that just to kind of egg you on the spur.
Look, the spray charts will tell you maybe you got to do it, but you got to pitch to it. You have to pitch to the shift, and more often than not, it gets busted. And when it does, these pitchers are not making that decision. It's the coaches. And so if the pitcher delivers the pitch and it's in the 6-hole, and he turns around, nobody's there, it's got to drive him crazy.
I just like to poke you a little bit because I know how you feel about it. Yeah. It's something, you know, I mean, obviously it works.
It works about as much as it gets busted. Yeah. That's my eyesight for the last 10 years.
Right. And so.
But when it works, it looks great. Like you're a genius. You out-thunk the game.
Yeah.
But that's what it feels like to me. We're just overthinking it.
Here's Jackson Willits. The shortstop hitting .312, 8 home runs, 28 runs batted in. The sophomore fouls that one off at the plate. Went 3 for 11 versus Bama over the weekend. 2 for 5 against Texas Tech on Tuesday with this shot. Willits goes yard for the 8th time this year.
Really cool story on Jackson Willits, only a sophomore, holding down the shortstop position in the cleanup spot. He's a switch hitter. This kid's going to make a lot of money. Great baseball family. His dad coaches on this Oklahoma staff.
Fouls it straight back, and Skip Johnson was just telling us he basically just turns the offense over to him. Skip handles a lot of the pitching, and
yeah, Reggie Willits right there was in the Yankees organization for a while. Now is the offensive coordinator, if you will, if that's such a thing in baseball. And look at the brothers. We're told that all 3 of them are superstars.
Well, Eli is jumped up the draft boards. he's committed to come here, but there's thoughts that he might be a top 10 pick in the draft, which means he probably goes and takes that money. And then the youngest son is moving up the travel ball world right now, and they think he's a dude.
Hey, we've heard stories of these coaches recruiting in that 6th grade, 7th grade area. You know he's getting some letters already.
That is one thing, though, that I think college baseball was wise, is that 2 years ago, these coaches they can't go out and recruit kids until August of their junior year now. So it's those guys were watching, as you said, they were watching 13-year-old kids play baseball. And now they kind of have to put that on the side and then go spend more time with the older kids.
Well, we use the term recruiting lightly. I mean, just to go to a 7th grade and say, if you're a head coach of a major college and say hello, that's enough for a kid to be pretty impressed.
Well, Willits draws the walk, and Cade Anderson in a little bit of trouble. Cade got in some trouble in his last start in Baton Rouge last week against Mississippi State. Tigers had to come back and win that one. A couple of home runs late, the difference against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, he only went into the 5th inning against Mississippi State last week. They call it short rest. It was a Thursday start after the previous Friday start where he dominated at Texas in Austin. Gave up the 5 earned runs, 6 hits off Mississippi State. And, yeah, I think now he's just trying to get back in the field because he's been really good this year.
Nate Yeske, the pitching coach for LSU, out to talk to Cade Anderson. Once Cade settled down against Mississippi State, things were Cade Anderson-like on Thursday, but got some help offensively. It's nice to go out on the mound knowing you got a team that's averaging 10 runs a game.
Yeah, and, it all started again. He had 2 strikes on Carmichael. Left one over the plate, and then the shift got him for the 3-hole, and then the stuff starts to speed up on you. That's the reason for the for Coach Yeske getting out there and talking to him a little bit, calming him down after the walk. And he's 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning. Get the ball on the ground. With this turf, it gets to the infielders faster than it would otherwise, and double plays are a little more prevalent with this turf.
18th pitch of the inning coming up for Anderson, and that one catches a part of the plates. So Kyle Branch looks at strike 1. Boy, Kyle having a fantastic freshman season. He's anchored that second base spot, 333. His brother Colby plays for the Georgia Bulldogs. He's been one of the great stories of the college baseball season. Georgia ranked 3rd in the country and just hitting bombs like Tennessee did last year.
You live in Atlanta. Georgia as a whole has been a great story. 84 home runs as a team already this year. That's 19 more than the 2nd best team in the conference. I mean, that's incredible.
That one misses low and away to Kyle Branch. Oklahoma came in, picked 11th in the preseason expectations, but certainly sitting here with a 5-4 record, middle of the pack in the SEC, 15-1 here at Mitchell Park. Swing and a miss. That is a big out, number 2 for Cade Anderson and LSU with the bases loaded of Sooners.
And that's why velocity matters. Once again, the hitter's sitting back. You have to protect against the off speed that Cade can throw at you. And when you're a little slow because you're waiting for the ball to travel into the zone, he pumps that fastball at 95, 96 in there. You just can't catch up.
Designated hitter Drew Dickerson now. Did he go? Yes, he did. Strike 1. Dickerson, the designated hitter, hitting .310. That breaking ball there for a strike. 0-2 quickly on Dickerson, the freshman designated hitter out of Lee Summit, Missouri. He came out of Missouri as, depending on where you look, the top 1 or 2 shortstops in the state can't handle the Anderson fastball in there for a strike, and he gets himself out of a jam. Strikes out 3 Sooners to get out of the inning. We were scoreless after 1. begins at 6 o'clock. Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi are back doing their own commentating on the games over on this particular channel on ESPN2. And you can also catch it on ESPN Plus. Well, that Final Four just as good as the men's Final Four. Man, there is some great basketball coming your way this weekend. Stephen Milam to lead things off for LSU. The sophomore who moved from second base to shortstop this year out of Las Cruces, New Mexico. Starting off the second inning. Just wonder if Oklahoma, bases loaded, only one out. You wonder if in a game like this, does that come back and haunt you? I know it's first inning, but you just wonder.
Well, I think part of it is we talked about the ability of both these pitchers, and that's where you find the makeup of a guy. And that's why there's, what, 50 scouts in the stands tonight, is Cade Anderson just came to another level and got out of it.
That ball shot out to center field, but with this wind, you better do some very extraordinary things to get it out of here. So Milam is retired.
And we have two strikeout pitchers tonight, but that's why I thought with the wind blowing in, as cold as it is, 50 degrees, you throw more fastballs and you pitch to contact more than you're trying to, you know, wiggle around and strike somebody out, because the ball's just not going anywhere.
Normally the wind, talking to Skip Johnson before the game today, normally the wind here blows out to left center. Ethan Fry is a guy that could certainly get one out of here. Fry has kind of worked his way into possibly an everyday DH type role for LSU. He's just killing the baseball recently. 404, 6 home runs, 23 RBIs on the year. Big fella's also stolen a couple of bags on the season. That's 6'6", 225 in that box. Off the end of the bat, out to short. Scooped up there nicely by Willits and makes the throw. And well, you got a little glimpse of how Fry can scoot down that line a little bit for a big man.
And also how Jackson Willits can pick it at short. I mean, that is not an easy play, and that's something scouts want to look at. You plant your feet and you're able to get your body behind on a throw. That's one thing. But from that 5.5 hole and the shortstop, without planting his feet, the ability to throw it on the line over to first base and get that out is pretty impressive.
Oklahoma's had some defensive issues in terms of errors. Their fielding percentage isn't that great, but yet you feel like up the middle they're pretty talented with Carmichael behind the plate, Willits and Branch at short, and Jason Walk out in center. I mean, straight up the middle, it's pretty solid stuff.
Well, you said you saw Branch made a couple really nice plays. Yeah, rangy plays. So just because your fielding precision isn't great doesn't mean you're not a good defensive team. I mean, you know, you can have some range, and we've seen Willits just now, and Branch, of course, Kyle Branch's brother Colby plays shortstop, so it's a middle infield family, and the range is there.
After a offensive timeout taken by Jay Johnson, Jake Brown will step in there, the sophomore out of Sulphur, Louisiana, out in right field. Foul tip back into the mitt of Carmichael. Brown was 3 for 7 against Mississippi State last weekend. Former 16th round draft pick by the Rangers back in 2023.
He and Cade Anderson were both the top 2 prospects out of the state of Louisiana a couple years ago, and I remember hearing both of their names. I live in Louisiana, so Jake Brown, of course, from Sulphur High School, and then Cade Anderson from St. Paul's out of Covington, Louisiana.
Here's the 2-1 to Brown. Lifts it up. Foul territory. Dawson Willis runs out of room. That'll be a souvenir on the berm. Boy, it's a shame the weather is as uncomfortable as it is, because this would have been a packed house. Still a solid crowd for the conditions.
Yeah, I was telling you, this reminds me of the old Wrigley days in Chicago. You get up for a 1 o'clock game and it's less than 50 degrees and the wind's blowing straight in and the grass is high, and tough to face a Roger Clemens in that environment.
Yeah, getting hit by a pitch in these conditions probably not a whole lot of fun either.
I told you that story too. It must have made an impact because I still remember it. Sean Estes at 96, lefty on lefty, hit me right in the elbow, and I was dancing. Hurt.
That one's up in the zone. Nice at bat for Brown to draw the 2-out walk here in the second.
Well, plus to give Cade Anderson more time, of rest. That's why Jay Johnson called the meeting. 2 quick outs, and then Jake Brown has that type of at bat. Very nice.
Here comes Hernandez, the catcher. Hernandez hitting 7th in this lineup. The 4th-year senior transferred in from Indiana State, where he played 3 years. Out of Puerto Rico. 4 for 11 versus Mississippi State last weekend. A couple of those hits left the yard. Had 3 RBIs on the weekend. Did not play on Tuesday in the win against Louisiana Tech. Gave him a day off. Five home runs on the year for Hernandez.
And that first one was against Pico Cone. That's the best pitcher in the league statistically. This guy can swing it. 359 with 23 home runs last year at Indiana State, and he was the MVC Missouri Valley Conference all defensive team too behind the plate. So I mean, this guy can go. And that's why I kind of laugh. He's the only non-300 hitter in this lineup. He can really swing the bat.
Had a 24-game hit streak last year. Good athlete. Grew up playing volleyball and basketball as well in high school. Fights that one off. That'll be a souvenir. Has played for the Puerto Rican national team, the 23 and under national team last summer that won silver at the Baseball World Cup, which was played in China. That had to be a great experience. Caught it on the barrel, out to center field. Jason Walk makes a routine catch, and the inning is over, and LSU will leave a runner. Heading to the bottom of the second, scoreless. Dale Mitchell Park here in Norman, Oklahoma. Skip Johnson running the show for the Sooners. Boy, he had a great season last year. They were Big 12 regular season champs. First time they ever won that, and then they switched conferences and come over here to the Southeastern Conference. They had 12 sweeps in the Big 12 last year. That's how impressive a run it was for Skip Johnson's club. Don't think you're going to pull that off in the SEC, though.
No, week in and week out, it's basically a national championship series, which they saw when Skip Johnson took them in 2022. They had to face Ole Miss in that final, but what a run he's made since here. And how about the range on Skip Johnson? He's a hunter, and he just told us he's a bowler.
Scratch bowler.
Scratch bowler. I didn't know that was a thing. I know scratch golfer.
Yeah,
but
he said scratch bowler.
Bowler. I mean, I didn't want to ask him, but I assume it's that means 250.
You bowl more than I do.
Yeah, I like to do it, but I'm not. If I crack triple digits, I'm doing well.
He's an engaging man. He's just a lot of fun to visit with, and got a story about everything. And we were talking to him about when Kyler Murray was playing. We had him at a regional at Florida State. 2018, his first year running the show here. And unfortunately, they went to that regional in Tallahassee that had Mississippi State and Florida State in there, and they went in there with 2 of his best players, including Kyler, out with injuries, and just couldn't get out of that regional.
His son coaches at McClellan Junior College, Tyler, and so he says they talk all the time about strategy and whatever. And just another, we talked about the Willits family. The Johnsons also a big baseball family.
93 up in the zone, be the first out of the inning. So Taki goes down. That'll take us to Dawson Willis, hitting 8th in the lineup.
Just another fastball by you. That's 3 strikeouts in a row for Cade Anderson. Gets Dayton Taki to swing at a ball above your waist. And again, when you're looking curveball, that 12-6 action that Cade definitely has, and he throws it up in the zone. At first you feel like it is the curveball and it's going to come down, and when it doesn't, as you're swinging, you're almost like, uh-oh, not going to be able to catch up to this one.
Here's Willis, 250 on the year, the third baseman with 3 homers and 21 runs batted in. Talk about the great start for LSU and the 17-game win streak that got him kind of rolling, and that was snapped about 10 days ago. But Oklahoma got off to their best start since 2011. They went 11-0 to get things cranked up. Skip Johnson was telling us this team's very passionate about the game, and he says that passion certainly isn't just about baseball, that there's this camaraderie, which is hard to find a lot of times within today's world when you got to bring in 28 newcomers like he had to do. But he feels like these guys care about each other, and it's part of the reasons they've had such a good start. And
on LSU's side, they only had 12 guys on this team that saw any action last year. So that's the day and age we live in, with transfer portal and everybody new and coming in. And I don't think there's any rebuild anymore. It's all just repower.
Boy, another strikeout. All 5 outs recorded by Anderson have been the K, via the K, and that's 4 consecutive batters he's fanned.
Well, the strikeout to walk ratio is important, meaning you're accurate, but you can also, when the hitters know you're accurate, you can still get some swing and misses when you're around the zone. Kyson Witherspoon does it for Oklahoma, and Cade Anderson, of course, does it for LSU, both with a 6-to-1 strikeout to walk, which if you're 3-to-1, you're doing great. 6-to-1, really impressive, and 2 of the best pitchers in the country.
First pitch swinging. Son Harris is retired. Good, clean, crisp inning for Cade Anderson. 1, 2, 3. Completed 2 here in Norman. Broken that string where it's been tough for teams to defend the title. They've had some bad luck along the way recently for championship teams, but Tennessee, the #1 ranked team in the country, LSU trying to get back into the mix again, and this team certainly has the pieces to do it. They've got a couple of guys in that rotation if they can figure that out, because we know they can hit it.
Yeah. 6 of the last 7 national champions have come from this conference, the SEC, and Arkansas was in the national championship series in 2018. But what's most impressive is that's 7, 8 different schools that have been in the national championship game. So LSU beat Florida in 2023. So it's definitely a sport dominated by really 2 conferences, the ACC and the SEC. Last year in Omaha, out of 31 Division I conferences that play college baseball, only 2 were represented in Omaha. ACC had 4, and the SEC had 4 in Omaha last year.
Of course, Oklahoma had a chance to play for it against Ole Miss in 2022. That's when the Rebels won their first ever College World Series. Ground ball to the right side, and that'll be out number 1 as Tanner Reeves is retired. You look at the SEC teams in the top 25. Again, 8 of the top 10 out of the Southeastern Conference. And there's Auburn sitting there at 16. Vanderbilt at 23. Chris Stanfield, first pitch he sees, fouls it straight back. The 9-hole hitter. A transfer from Auburn. It's been a couple of years on the Plains. Grew up in Tallahassee, Florida, in the shadows of Mike Martin Stadium, Dick Howser Stadium, Mike Martin Field. Florida State's playing some good baseball. Link Jarrett going back to his alma mater, has the Seminoles playing at an exceptionally high level.
Which you knew he would. I mean, Notre Dame was so dominant when he was the head coach. You never really think that a head coach is going to make that much difference in college baseball or baseball in general.
Yeah.
For me, it's run them out there, let them play. But Link Jarrett definitely makes an impact on the teams he's with. And, of course, it doesn't hurt. You got a top draft pick in your staff and Jamie Arnold. And then the Joey Volini guy. I mean, we looked him up. Wow. 1.25 ERA in 7 starts. 6'5", 245-pound left-hander.
That'll work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's intimidating. 2-2
to Stanfield. He had 276 last year at Auburn with 4 home runs. He's at 308 with no home runs for LSU. And their everyday center fielder. Off to the left side. Get a chance to watch Willits do his thing. And close play at first. Boy, Stanfield really got down the line. See if Jay Johnson wants to look at that again. He's begging his coach to. Well, you better be sure.
Yeah, if you're calling for that, yeah. Let's watch it again. I mean, first of all, the arm strength of Jackson Willits. Now he does get his feet up under
LSU is challenging the call out of first base.
Missile over to first
Plays
base.
under review.
We saw a play made earlier to his right on the run. I think he got him, but it is close.
Well, all these schools have the Hawkeye technology where they can slow that down and take a much clearer view of that.
You really do know as a runner if you got it or not. So if he's asking for it, I would think it's closer than it looks to us up here in the booth. You know, when I would run down to first, you always knew if the throw beat you or not. It's in the glove right there. I just can't tell if his left toe is down on that green bag.
What do you think? I mean, is he going to be out or safe? Simple as that.
Well, I got to go back to what I just said. As a runner, now there's 2 bags now. The one bag was a little easier to feel, you know, whether or not you were going to be safe or not. He's a little further to the right, but as a runner, I think you always know if you're safe or not. And if Chris is asking for a
runners out.
Okay.
LSU loses the challenge. They have 1 remaining.
Hopefully.
And now he's going to Chris Stanfield's going to have to walk to the other side of the dugout.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be really sure that you were right before you call for a replay, don't you? I would think.
So they lose one of their challenges. So I think that was close enough to give that a second look, in my opinion.
Well, but Jay told us last week they're going to do the replays on scoring plays, but at first base, as it turned out they're wrong.
Now you've lost an opportunity.
You've lost the time for a guy on first. I mean, you know, I don't know.
Top of the lineup, Derek Curiel struck out looking his first time up. Young man has just been fantastic. Everybody thought he was going to be a stud when he got on the field, and he has not disappointed. He's 4th in the conference in batting average, 3rd in walks, 3rd in on-base percentage.
D1 baseball preseason freshman of the year. I mean, he was coming in with some high accolades, but then to do it, especially in this conference, has been really impressive. I mean, this guy sees a lot of pitches, goes the other way.
Slaps this one out to left. Harris can't catch up to it. Bounces off the wall. Curiel coming into second base. And that'll be his 10th double of the year.
And they will shift on Derek Curiel because a lot of his ground balls go the right side. He can go the other way. We saw the home run at Texas. We saw the home run last week against Mississippi State. Both opposite field, and now a slicing double past the left fielder, Harris. So he can go the other way, but it's almost always in the air to left field. And now he's at second base with 2 outs.
He has reached safely in all 31 games he's played. And he now has a hit in 29 of those 31 games. I mean, it's just been. I mean, this kid playing high school ball last year.
And that's what we forget. Yeah, I mean, to jump to this level and then have the success he's had. I mean, there's some makeup in there that is pretty impressive.
Jared Jones struck out looking his first time up.
And this would be the bat that Jay was telling us about, right? I mean, be the Barrett Bonds of college baseball, which right now means they're probably not going to pitch to you. They're not going to let you drive this run in. So Kyson's going to do everything he can to nibble on the outside corner. That was a good cutter on the outside. And maybe he'll chase, which we know in the past he's capable of doing. And that was Jay's point, is like, you can't bite on the balls that are out of the zone. And you got to understand, in this situation with 2 outs and first base open, they'd rather throw to Dickinson on deck. Even though Dickinson's a great hitter, they're not going to let Jared Jones beat him.
Jones has 46 runs batted in. That is 4th in the Southeastern Conference. And those 11 home runs also 4th in the league. There's Dickinson on deck. Two and two the count on the awkward swing from Jared Jones.
And now he doesn't get a fastball unless it's out of the zone, high, elevated. So Kyson now has 2 pitches to try to strike him out swinging, but Jared's got to understand neither one are going to be center cut.
Misses inside, full 3-2. Jones has a hit in 25 of 30 games. Came in as the 5th best batting average in the Southeastern Conference.
This is the situation where most hitters get challenged, and Jared's just not going to see a fastball.
Slaps it out to right. It'll drop for a base hit. Got something that he could comfortably put the barrel on it. Drives in his 47th run of the year, and LSU leads 1-0.
That's the maturity level of Jared Jones now this year. That was a great 3-2 pitch by Kyson, putting it on the outside corner when the hitter's looking fastball middle center cut, and it's out over the plate, and Jared Jones doesn't try to pull it, because if he does, he's out to the left side. He stays with it and drives it on the barrel to right field, drives in the first run for LSU.
And here is Daniel Dickinson. Boy, the growth of Jared Jones at the plate has been just it's been fun to watch over the years, last couple of seasons. That one slapped out to right center. Walk will catch up to it, but LSU gets a couple of hits and a run on the board. And when we come back, we'll visit with the LSU skipper, Jay Johnson. Stay with us. From Oklahoma, top 10 matchup. How about this? First ever series for LSU in Norman, Oklahoma. Never played here before.
Makes sense. I know Skip Bertman wouldn't be traveling all the way up here to play somebody competitive like Oklahoma. I mean, we were in a lot of other places, but, you know, we wouldn't have been doing that. But that's what I love about the SEC. You alluded to it earlier. Every weekend is like ridiculously good baseball.
Yeah.
You know, 16 teams are just really, really competitive, and like we've pointed out, it's a top 10 matchup. Out of 300 Division I schools playing baseball, you got 2 of the best right here.
Well, we were supposed to talk to Jay Johnson. He was out during between innings talking with one of our umpires about something, and it was late getting back to the dugout, so we decided to let him just kind of manage his team over there.
You'd think he'd be kind of happy at this point. Want to catch him while he's ahead.
Yeah. Boy, and he's watching his starter, who was in a little bit of trouble, Kate Anderson, that first inning. Bases loaded, 1 out, and got out of that jam with a couple of strikeouts. And last inning had a 1-2-3 frame with a couple of strikeouts and a first pitch ground out. But he's fallen behind 3-0 here to Jason Walk.
Yeah, it's just such a mental thing. Every pitch matters. You got to stay with it. And you're right, Kate got a little bit of trouble. And we think the scouts are here to see the velocity and the pitch sequences and, you know, the pitchability of a kid. But how about showing the scouts, I got the bases loaded, 1 out in the first, and I can strike out 4 in a row. I mean, that's impressive.
Here's a ground ball to third. Reeves across the diamond over to Jared Jones, and Walker's retired. So here's Easton Carmichael. Hit .366 last year with 7 homers, 19 doubles. Finished the year with 93 hits.
That led the team.
Had 32 multi-hit games last year. And I thought what's even more impressive is he hit over 400 in Big 12 games, which led the Big 12 in league games. Fouls this one out of play.
And you think that household is all Oklahoma Sooner colors? The dad, Darby, played for the Sooners back in '92, '93. Brother Braden was here during the national championship run in 2022.
Easton 2 for 12 last weekend. Swings and misses here. That is out number 2, and that'll be strikeout number 6 of the evening.
Yeah, just nice changeup right here. And look at the location on the outside corner. That is almost impossible as a hitter, especially if you got in your mind he might pump 95 in there middle in. When he throws it out and away, the only chance you have is look down the opposite field line and let it travel right up over the plate. And if you don't do that, you're out.
2 down for Sam Christensen. The Sooner first baseman, or I should say right fielder, singled his first time up. Part of that bases loaded first inning, left stranded out there at second base. Sooners having to go out with one of their better hitters in this one. Trey Gamble's out with a minor injury, but not good enough to go tonight. So that's kind of changed things up in this lineup a bit. Trey came in hitting .377 for the Sooners as Christensen gets the walk. Might see Gamble pinch hit situation. Here's Jackson Willits. He walked his first time.
'23 Oklahoma Player of the Year. How about in high school? Hit .620 his senior year. Hit .645 his junior year. I mean, what?
I would say that's good bat to ball skills. I had to break that down for you. You know, these are the games, right? I mean, as a player, you know there's 50 scouts here. They're here to watch starting pitchers. But this is an opportunity for all these other guys to say, just get some attention, right? I mean, you got to be thinking like that, I would assume.
When a lot of people get jealous about something like that, that was the time. Yeah, I mean, I got this opportunity to get out and show you what I got. Now, Jackson Willits doesn't necessarily have to do that. I think they're aware. But overall, you're right. I mean, every player has a chance to see to do something special in front of these guys.
Nice job going to the big hole on the right side of the infield. Now the Sooners have it first and second, so Willits showing you he can handle the bat as well.
Love watching hitters go the other way. And Jackson Willits, again, we've already talked about, playing shortstop, hitting cleanup, switch hitting, and just the ability. He's got 8 home runs, by the way. So when you think this kid's up there trying to lift and separate to the pull side, he just punches it through the right side. Big hole on that right side with Jared Jones holding the runner on, and it's a nice base hit.
Willits is hitting SEC pitching at a 350 clip. He'll stand at first base. Runners at first and second. Kyle Branch gets an off-speed pitch. Branch struck out his first time up. Another one off speed, 83 miles an hour. 0-2.
And now you have to sit back on all the off speed. You got to respect it now that you've waved through it, and that's when the fastball middle end works.
Threw him another off speed, 83 again. Now 94.
You know, they just get nervous to hit the guy when you're so far ahead in the count, and that's what makes it tough for these pitchers to throw middle in. But if he does it, if he can bury a cutter in there, he's got him.
.93 and just
that was it. I just missed. I mean, that looked good from up here, but now you got the speed up in your mind. Like as a hitter, you're speeding up now. Okay, he's got the ability to throw in, and that now you come back with the changeup.
went outside, count even at 2-2 now. You think that's one of the biggest difference in big league ball and high-level college ball is the 2-strike, the 0-2-1-2 pitch at the big league level is a more competitive pitch than what we see at a college game?
There's a lot of guys in college that can do it too, but overall, yeah, the consistency, see, that's non-competitive 2-2. Now you put him in a hitter's count with a fastball is guaranteed because there's nowhere to put him and there's 2 outs. And as a hitter, you just have to stay within yourself and not overswing. But yeah, I mean, I think overall they'll scare you in the big leagues, like those 0-2-1-2s. You know, you're always check swinging and
right.
thinking they're better than they are.
To the right side, foul ball. We'll do it again.
Oh, he threw a wrinkle in there.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I know about Nate Yeskie, the pitching coach at LSU, he does not give in. He would rather walk the guy on a curveball in 3-2 predictable fastball situation than just pump it in there and let him hit a double in the gap.
8th pitch of this at bat on the way from Cade Anderson. Cade with a 3.5 ERA, 5-0 record on the year. Swing and a miss. Off speed again, 85. Fool's Branch. Sooners will leave 2. 1-0 LSU. Florida and Vanderbilt and Virginia all with 11 in the show. LSU with 9. Mississippi State has also produced 9 big leaguers. As Stephen Milam steps in. Yeah, how about my Atlanta Braves right now? We're off to a really good start. The best news for the Braves is they started a West Coast trip, and all those games were at 10 o'clock at night, so many of us didn't get to watch the debacle. Last night had a chance to beat the Dodgers, and then Ohtani walked them all.
I saw that. They were up 5-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're pitching to Ohtani.
Yeah.
Which wasn't a bad pitch.
No.
Sinking away.
But it was a Ohtani bobblehead night.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, 0-7. I read somewhere no team that's ever started 0-7 made postseason in baseball history.
Out of 162 games, if you're 0-7, you didn't make it. That's pretty impressive.
Ground ball out to short. Willits fires and Milam is retired. 1 down.
It even makes the scoring in the book hard. Like, is that a 6-3? He's the third baseman, or is that a 5-3?
Good point.
You know, it's a 5-3, but when you look at it, right, granted out to third base, that's not true the next time he comes up.
I don't want to have to write like a sentence for scoring.
We'll put 5-3 down and move on.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. The same thing. That way we'll be in sync.
There we go.
So ground ball to Willis. Takes us to Ethan Fry. Fry, the designated hitter, grounded out his first time up.
You know, you mentioned how Ethan Fry is a big dude, 6'6", hitting 400 with 6 home runs. This is only his 15th start of the year. I mean, kid couldn't get any burn until right now. I mean, he is a very talented player.
Well, over the last 5 games, this is why he's in the lineup tonight on an opening game on the road in an SEC series against a top 10 team, is because the last 5 he's hit .467, 7 for 15 with 2 home runs and 2 doubles. His batting average has increased 232 points from last year.
A lot of confidence this year.
And this is what that home run on Tuesday looked like at home against Louisiana Tech. Oh man, just middle, boom. Makes it look easy.
Left center gone, yeah. The best prospect out of Louisiana in 2022. So we talked about Jake Brown and Cade Anderson a couple years ago. Ethan Fry was a year before them. They're able to pull all the guys out of Louisiana that can play.
Popped him up. Foul territory. Taki in front of the LSU dugout makes the catch for the second out.
Well, that was pretty nonchalant. Sometimes those balls can really spin back into the field of play, and Taki got his legs up under him and didn't look like much spin on that baseball. Wind's fighting against it.
And here is Jake Brown. Jake walked his first time up. First pitch he sees, fouls it back. Jake 3 for 7 against Mississippi State last weekend in Baton Rouge. Hit 264 as a freshman with 4 homers. Had an outstanding Southeastern Conference tournament last year. Had 417 average, a 5 for 12 clip with a home run, double. Swing and a miss there. Going to be an interesting SEC tournament this year as the expanded league with Texas and Oklahoma coming on board. They're going to invite all 16 teams. Remember, a couple teams always got left out, but now they'll take all 16 to Hoover, Alabama, and play a single elimination event. Swing and a miss. So LSU leads by 1. Joining us down there in that Oklahoma dugout is their skipper, Skip Johnson. And, Coach, thanks for joining us. You know, last year was such a great run for Oklahoma through the Big 12, and you had to say goodbye to that, come into this new conference. And I'm just curious, because you had to rechange your roster, revamp it, bring in new people. Your expectations about what this team would look like and how it performed based on where you are right now?
Well, when you start a new year and you have a big roster turnover, it's going to happen in our era today. So I think it's the biggest thing is when you get them in there, and I don't have an expectation. I just want to try to start showing them how much I care before I show them how much I know. And all the coaches the same way, try to build a culture and start that way and get those guys to understand how we practice and how we go about our business every day.
Coach Kyson's been really good. Even the pitch he threw to Jarrett Jones I thought was a nice pitch. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's been himself. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Is just being yourself, and that's good enough for us. And good pitchers make good pitching coaches.
At this time of the year, a guy like Kyson, I mean, how much do you monitor pitch counts and stuff like that at this point in the year? He's had some quality starts under his belt now.
I think that's the biggest thing. You got to just make sure that how he reacts it on a pitch-to-pitch basis, on a weekly basis. And he works extremely hard. So, I mean, you look at, he should be able to go 100. We've been keeping him under 100. So I think that's the biggest thing we got to look at every day.
All right, buddy. Listen, we'll let you get back to doing your thing. Appreciate spending the time with us. Thanks for your hospitality, as always.
You bet. Thank you, guys.
You don't know how bad I wanted to ask him what his bowling average is.
I know.
Is that appropriate?
He's the one guy that would probably have answered that and had a discussion about it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he loves talking about it. If you're that good, you spend a lot of time doing it.
Tell you what, they had to go out and listen, a lot of teams do it. That's the way it is in this world. Called strike 3 on Dickerson. Another strikeout for Cade Anderson. But Oklahoma had to go back, and they brought in 28 newcomers, 16 transfers, 11 from the junior college ranks. He also has Todd Butler, who has been a long-time assistant coach, was a head coach at Wichita State for 6 years, but been around Arkansas program, been around the Alabama program, now around this Oklahoma program. He actually played here, so he's kind of back in a comfort zone kind of thing. But Todd Butler, you got to have a guy like that. Todd Butler knows where to find talent, has all these junior college connections.
Well, I know as a player, you want to play for a manager or a coach that's likable, and Skip's a likable guy, and he's going to tell you like it is. I mean, but I think you learn to appreciate stuff like that. But just spending some time with Skip Johnson, I mean, just a nice dude, and knows the game, and a guy I know that people would love to play for.
Dayton Taki slaps it out to right. Jake Brown corrals it, but a one-out single for Taki.
Well, the Sooners have hit Cade Anderson around a little bit. They've got 4 hits, but just haven't been able to scratch a run across. They had the bases loaded in the first. They had 2 guys on in the third, and now here in the bottom of the 4th with 1 out, the 7-0 Dayton Taki rips it into left field, or right field.
Dawson Willis now struck out in the 2nd inning. We'll step in there.
You know, we're talking about travel ball. I battled the Willis family. He's from Ruston, Louisiana. I'm in Shreveport, an hour down the road. We battled his brother CJ, who went to LSU originally and transferred to ULL. Battled those guys in travel ball for years. That Ruston travel ball team was so good. This family, Willis family, great people. Dad Chris played football at Louisiana Tech, but we'd always have a lot of good baseball conversations.
Your son playing over at Houston Christian, playing well, swinging it well.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah. And Houston Christian is playing well. They were dead last in the Southland Conference. Lance Berkman stepped down, and Clay Vanderlane took over. And you said you read an article about one of the best jobs in the country, probably. Turned that thing around. Houston Christian now first in the Southland Conference. And, yeah, it's been fun to watch. I know your son plays college baseball, too, and just really blessed, you know, to get an opportunity to watch those guys grow and play.
I would say there are a few people watching as much baseball as you and I are watching this time of the year.
This one doesn't make me as nervous, though.
I know.
I don't get that emotional about this one. Your son's a pitcher. I can only imagine. My son hits, so every 4 times a game I get a little anxious. But for you, it's every pitch.
But luckily, it's only once a week.
Yeah.
2-2 the count now on Willis. Boy, this Oklahoma team, they are not afraid to get moving on the base paths. They have swiped 74 bases this year. Out to second, they get the double play. What a tough break for Oklahoma and a great break for LSU. A 4-3 double play that was lined out to Dickinson off the bat of Willis.
Yeah, Dayton Taki just froze. Actually took a step forward instead of going back. Watch him hesitate. He sees the line drive and stops, and it's just too late. Nice transfer from Dickinson.
Right around 50 major league scouts here watching these two guys. And so far, what's been your take of our two starters?
Well, first of all, Cade Anderson, the makeup with the bases loaded in the first to strike out the next two guys. Again, you can talk about velocity and pitchability all you want, but that's what scouts want to see. And on the other side, Kyson Witherspoon, I mean, just accurate around the plate. It's what we knew coming in, but man, I mean, the fastball's electric, and he's just in control of, it seems like, every pitch he makes. And again, he got hurt on the 1 double by Curiel to the left side, and he made a nice pitch to Jared Jones to give up the 1 run, but you know, he's only given up 2 hits, Kyson. We're in the 5th. So he's been really, really good.
Boy, they're peppering the right side. Are the LSU Tigers. That one will get to the wall. Hernandez will stop at second base. Boy, LSU has been really patient at the plate. And that's their 3rd hit to the right side in that right center field area.
And I think that's how you got to attack Kyson, because like I just mentioned, he is accurate. And so there's a guessing game, or I call it an educated guessing game, between the hitter and the pitcher. And if you know what he's going to do, and he's accurate enough to put it in that spot, it makes it actually a little less difficult. And that's what Kyson does, is paint the outside corner against these right-handed hitters. They know it. Jared Jones went the other way. And now Luis Hernandez with a double the opposite direction.
Tigers have 3 hits. They're all been doubles to the right side.
And that's when they talk a lot about, and don't get me wrong, the big leagues are extremely difficult, but that's why they would say Double-A was almost tougher, because if you're trying to think along with that pitcher, they've got big league stuff, but a lot of them don't have a clue where it's going, right? So if you think he's coming middle in and he throws it off the back fence, then, you know, you can't guess along with him. And that's a big part of hitting, is that educated guess process of what they have and what they're going to throw depending on the situation and the count, and being able to put a barrel on it when they put it in that spot. But again, if I'm looking middle in and he's trying to come middle in, but he paints the outside corner, then it makes it tougher because you can't think along with him.
Skip Johnson out to talk to Kyson Witherspoon. Skip Johnson, one of the more well-respected pitching coaches. That's kind of where he cut his teeth his entire career, and didn't want to give that up when he got this job back in 2018.
So that pickoff is to see if the hitter will show him a bunt. But the problem is, this is the 8 spot. So if you bunt him and give him an out, now you're depending on your 9-hole, Chris Stanfield, to get a base hit. You and I both kind of are on the same page. I don't mind bunting them over to 3rd with less than 2 outs, because then you just put the ball in the field somewhere, you get a run. But I just don't know if bunting the 8 to get to the 9 is the right move. And they're not going to do it.
Tanner Reeves, the 3rd baseman. He is 0 for 1. Grounded out to first base. His first time up. There he squares up to bunt. It's a good one to the right side. He'll do his job. They'll take the out at first. That means Hernandez is 90 feet away from the Tigers' second run.
Chris Stanfield was in this situation last week, if you remember,
right, yeah.
And they bunted Chris Stanfield on. It wasn't a squeeze, but it was almost like a safety squeeze, and I think they did not get the job done. But now with the infield in, you're asking Chris Stanfield to put in the outfield somewhere to get that second run across, which I thought as a hitter this was a less difficult at bat. You just change your launch angle a little bit and put it in the outfield, but easier said than done against a guy like Kyson Witherspoon.
Stanfield grounded out his first time. Infield playing in. First baseman Dayton Taki halfway down the line. I think they saw the same video that we saw live in this situation with Stanfield last week. Little check swing. 0-2 now.
Yeah, well, it's going to be totally based on this result right here, but I just don't know about, bunting to the 9 spot and then expecting him to get the ball in the outfield, which he can do, clearly capable. And we know it's going to be a low-scoring game, so Jay Johnson's trying to get every run he can across in any way he can.
Boy, fights that one off up in the zone.
Yeah, you just really have to trust your guy in this situation that he's not going to strike out, and that goes into the decision to bunt the guy in front of him.
Base hit. That's going to be extra bases. Stanfield on an 0-2 pitch sends it into the corner. He will stop at second, and an RBI for the 9-hole hitter, his 13th of the year, and LSU leads 2-0.
LSU has 4 base hits, all in the opposite direction, and that's a mistake. Right out over the plate. Ball did not break. Chris Stanfield did the right thing on an 0-2 count, just trying to let the ball travel as far as possible and just put the ball in place somewhere, and he hits a bullet down the right field line for LSU's second run. Nice piece of hitting by the 9-hole Chris Stanfield.
LSU effective. That's their second hit and 2 opportunities with a runner in scoring position, and they'll flip the lineup back to Derek Curiel, who doubled and picked and scored a run back in the 3rd inning. Four hits apiece in this top 10 matchup, and LSU's first ever trip to Mitchell Park. Fouled straight back off the bat of Derek Curiel. LSU, the number 3 hitting team in the country, came into this game with a .337 team average. And also lead the league in doubles. They have 3 of those today. Curiel goes down for the second time on strikes.
Well, and it's funny how teams take on their head coach personality. Jay Johnson is a hitting guy, and it's amazing the offense and what they've done since he's been there. He's willing to give up a little bit of defense to have 9 hitters in that lineup that just put so much pressure on you. And that's what they have. I mean, we just saw what Chris Stanfield can do out of the 9-hole. Tanner Reeves is having a great year. He's the 8-hole hitter. And they just consistently put a lot of pressure on you.
2 outs now for Jared Jones. Jones picked up an RBI on his base hit back in the 3rd inning. His 47th run batted in of the year.
And in the same situation he was last at bat. Right. 2 outs. First base open. Yeah, he drilled it to right field on a 3-2 slider.
0-1 now on the man they call Bear, and that one's down. 1-1. Jared Jones came out of high school as a highly sought after catcher, but with the catching prospects, Jared has found his way over to first base.
Carmichael wanted that ball middle in. He throws it low and away. Probably an indication that Kyson Witherspoon's getting a little worn down.
78th pitch on the way for Witherspoon. Off the end of the bat, second base, Branch Fields throws, and that'll get the Sooners off the field. But another run on the board for LSU. Their lead is now 2-0, heading to the bottom of the fifth. Jay Johnson. And Jay, we've talked a lot about your lineup and how you guys are hitting it so well this year, but Jared Jones stands out to me. And as a coach, a hitting guy, to watch his growth for 3 years, we can talk about it, but what does it mean for you to see that kind of growth in an individual?
Yeah, super proud of it, to the point where if pro teams are paying attention, they need to evaluate the player on this year only. Strike zone management the first year, and now he's adding contact. See the professional hitting ability. Hit the ball the other way with runners in scoring position. He's one of the best power hitters in the country.
Similar, Jay, you guys groomed Cade Anderson to be the ace. Last year he made the 9 starts. Now he's the Friday night guy. Bases loaded, 1 out in the first, and he gets out of it. Talk about the makeup of Cade.
That's it. I mean, you just said, I think you have to have special makeup to be the Friday starter or to pitch at the end of the ball game. He has that, along with all the tangible things that he does well with the pitchability, the strikes, all of those types of things. He's leader of our pitching staff. Good mound visit right there by Coach Yeski in the first, and got him poised up, and Cade took to the rest from there.
Yeah, he looks good tonight in front of a lot of scouts. Hey, Jay, we'll let you get back to business, man. Always appreciate you spending time with us.
All right, thanks, guys.
You know, he's so calm. He's so just collected, but you know that the grind of what this is in an SEC opening game of a series on the road.
Well, you know,
fly ball out to center field. Stanfield is there to make the catch, and Walk is retired for out number 2.
Dying out there. You know, I think what he said last week epitomizes Jay Johnson. You know, they're 27-3, and somebody asked him, "Are you having fun this year?" He said, "I had fun 27 times."
Yeah, that's right.
And 3 times I was miserable. I mean, he is all baseball. And if you want to talk baseball, he'll go on forever, and he loves it. He's great at it. And, of course, in his second year at LSU, won the national championship. He was at Arizona for the 6 years, took them to Omaha twice, and just a fantastic baseball mind.
He and I were talking about this league, and that it's so commonplace to come and have these matchups like this, top 10 matchups, top 25 matchups, that he's like, it's these kids become so accustomed to, like, this is the level you have to play every day. And there have been years where maybe you would go to places and you'd expect to win, and you had to kind of get guys rolling and get them in the right frame of mind. But he said, but now, I mean, it's like every weekend you better be on, or you know that you might get beat 10-0.
You know, 30 years ago, they used to say this level was AA comparable, minor league stuff. And I think that's true, having done both. Now, with the crowds and a lot of kids coming back, first rounders coming back to college, I'm almost scared to say this because it is clearly more talent in the big league consistently, but it's big league atmosphere out here in the SEC every weekend, and the kids get used to playing in front of the crowds, the anticipation. Yeah. The reporters are harder on them than they probably were when we were in school. You know, they never were going to ask you the tough questions. I think now these kids have to answer some tough questions if you make an error to lose a game or strike out in a bad situation, and it's not big league baseball, but it's comparable because of the talent level that you're seeing and the crowds and everything that goes into it.
And heck, the college kid now, if you're a first, second, third round player, the path to the big leagues is very short.
Especially pitchers.
Boy, Cade Anderson.
Yeah.
His path might be quite short, too. He keeps pitching like this. Another strikeout for Cade. That is some kind of game for Cade. That is 9 strikeouts now. What a job by the lefty.
Yeah, just a great changeup working off of that fastball, and he has been dominant since the first inning.
Nothing better for a college baseball fan than a trip out to Omaha in the College World Series. Be here before you know it. Daniel Dickinson to lead things off, just to kind of get you ready for the postseason, as we're 6 weeks away from conference tournament action. Regionals will begin May 30th. The Supers, which to me is just I mean, our ratings last year for the Supers was off the charts. Some of those Supers were just, the series were fantastic baseball.
All of it's great. All of it's great. I was just going to say that the conference tournaments, like Hoover, I have a screaming blast in Hoover for the week that we're there. I don't know. The games, I mean, they're single elimination, 16 teams.
Yeah.
Is it 4 games a day for the first 2 days?
That's it, yeah.
4 games in one day, yeah. I mean, good grief.
You definitely want to finish top 4 in this league. Because you get
the double bye.
Yeah, to the right side. And bobbled for a moment by Taki. Underhand toss to Witherspoon. They get the out. More great baseball coming your way on Friday night over on the SEC Network. Second-ranked Arkansas begins a 3-game set with Missouri. Coverage starts at 8 Eastern from Baum Walker Stadium in Fayetteville. And, you know, the Hogs just keep chugging along. Dave Van Horn, I mean, every year in the mix.
23rd year at Arkansas, and they had a rough regional when TCU ran through town. But outside of that, in the past 6-7 years, they just play fantastically well, and some years they have more talent than others, it seems like. But Dave Van Horn seems to put that team together every year to be in a position to get to Omaha, and they do not. Again, outside of that regional, they don't lose at home. Baum Stadium, I mean, they play really, really good baseball up there in Fayetteville.
I'm not going to pick a favorite because I don't want to make anybody mad, but Baum is among my favorite places to go do any game, football, basketball, or baseball.
Unless of course, you make a mistake with a name, or you say a word too many times on the air, or you play for the other team. Because those fans they remind me of Yankee fans. Like,
first of all, I don't do any of that. I don't do any of that, what you just said.
Then you haven't seen it. I have. And, man, you better pick them in the top 3 every year, too. You're going to hear that one as well.
Speaking from experience, my partner, Todd Walker.
I got burnt a couple of years ago not picking them. Yeah, that was the year they lost the regional to TCU.
Out to second base. Milam is retired.
But, yeah, you can't say enough good about Dave Van Horn. I mean, played at Arkansas and then played in your Braves organization. He has some great stories about Mark Lemke. He was a second baseman behind him. And
the Limmer.
The Limmer, yeah. Puts it together every year. I have him tomorrow night. Missouri and Arkansas.
Here's Ethan Fry, the designated hitter. He looks at a first pitch strike. Fry, that 6'6" frame. Hit 228 last year. Playing in 19 games. As a freshman, hit 263. Or, excuse me, 19 games as a freshman, 34 games last year when he hit 228. Former high school quarterback.
He's 6'6". LSU's third starter, 6'8", Chase Soares. They got a kid in the bullpen, Maverick Rizzi, 6'9". Jared Jones, 6'5", 250. I mean, they could put a basketball. If this baseball thing doesn't work out, which it seems like it is, they could put a basketball team together.
Fry's been on that 5-game tear during this 5-game win streak. Came into this one hitting .467 over his last 5 and laces that one out to center field on a 3-1 pitch.
I always thought when you were that big and that strong, hitting would be a little less difficult, because now all of a sudden you don't have to generate the power. You just sit back, and if you put it in the zone, Ethan Fry is going to kill it to the pull side. But look at this swing. Just stays back right through the box, up the middle. Nice, level, compact line drive into center field. And for a kid that has that kind of power at 6'6" and can put it 500 feet, the ability to stay under control and just pop it back up the middle. I mean, he has been a complete hitter this year.
It was one of the few counts we've seen where the hitter's been in a plus situation today. Witherspoon's been pretty good with controlling the count.
And that's more to my point. Like, as a hitter, when you get in a plus count, you want to get the barrel out in front and just hit as far as you can hit it to the pull side. And that's the mindset you get as a hitter, and the ability to stay back and stay under control and be a little more disciplined and use the other side of the field like you've seen LSU do tonight. It takes a lot, and that's why they're top 3 in the country as an offense, is their ability to go the other way, and they'll hurt you when you come inside.
Well, that hit by Fry was just their second when an LSU hitter took a first pitch strike. Now it's 1-2 on Jake Brown, 350 hitter. Fouls it off the plate. We'll do it again. 94 pitches now for Kyson Witherspoon. His season high was 107 against Mississippi State.
This is when it's tough, when Kyson's got that great changeup and he's got 60% swing and miss on the curveball, but you also know he can bury you inside with a fastball. So to me, as a hitter, you just got to look for the off speed. If he comes inside, you got to just do the best you can. But it's tough because if as a hitter, we have egos too, and you don't want him to burn that fastball by you. And that little thought that I got to get the barrel out will get you in trouble. And that's why Jake struck out his last at bat. Now he's got to be looking off speed and go the other way.
Pretty quiet right now down in that Sooner bullpen. This one's popped up, going to stay in play. Willis in foul territory, and maybe we'll get another inning out of Witherspoon. We get to see Cade Anderson on the other side as LSU leads it 2-0. Maybe one day we'll see this guy, Derek Curriel, the freshman phenom, the top high school prospect to come to college. They think he's probably got the pathway to get there. There's right now you got Stanfield out in center field, but Jay Johnson telling us this guy can certainly play that spot. That ball's hit on the button out to right off the bat of Christensen, and it's off the wall. He will round first and wind up with a double for Oklahoma's 5th hit of the game. That was probably the hardest hit ball we've seen all day.
Sam Christensen with his second hit, he had a base hit back in the first inning. Now the double. Left-handers hit Cade a little better than the right-handers through the off-speed middle end. And Sam Christensen, lefty on lefty, you're just trying to see the ball and let it travel. There's really never any cheat going on with your front side, your front shoulder against a left-hander, and right there it pays off because your ability to see the off-speed is a little better.
Yeah.
And then he just rips it to right field.
Well, now the Sooners got something going here with Jackson Willits, the 4-hole hitter. He singled his last time up. He walked back in the first. Average up to 318 now for Jackson, the shortstop.
This decision's totally on how you think the game's going to go. It's going to be a low-scoring game. We talked about in the open with the cold weather, the wind blowing in, and so even a bunt just to get this first run across is big for Oklahoma because it's not going to be a high-scoring game. And the way Cade is going for LSU, and of course Kyson on the other side, you need every run you can get.
81 miles an hour in there for a strike. Again, hard to get one out of here today with the flags blowing straight into home plate. Willits, the guy certainly that can do it, leading the team with 8 home runs.
But his job is to hit the ground ball on the right side, get the runner over to third with 1 out. That way the guy behind him, Kyle Branch, can knock him in. So you're not really necessarily looking to pull a home run, and especially now in an 0-2 count. You're doing all you can do just to push it to the right side.
Swing and a miss down the turf. He will be out via the strikeout, and another one for Anderson. That is number 10.
And you see everything soft to Jackson Willits, trying to get him to pull the ball so he doesn't move that runner over. And that one just buried low and in. What a nice slider from Cade Anderson to get the strikeout. But even then, Jackson Willits is not going to be able to do the job on that pitch. If he puts it in play at all, it's going to the pull side. And the runner would have to stay at second.
Ground ball, foul. 0-1 on Kyle Branch. Back-to-back strikeouts. Oklahoma 0 for 4 tonight with runners in scoring position. Oh, 0-2.
And Cade's thrown 5 pitches with that runner at second base, and all of them off speed. Not one fastball yet.
10 strikeouts, 2 walks for Anderson.
And there's the first fastball, and that's a show. So now as a hitter, I'm thinking off speed all the way.
By the way, his career high for strikeouts was 13 against Southeastern Louisiana last year. Change up down in the turf. Anderson, a guy that when you ask him about why he chose LSU, it's pretty simple. Because he says, I'm a true Tiger fan. It was the only place I ever wanted to go.
He grew up an hour down the road. Pitched at St. Paul. I think his ERA in high school was like a 0.4, 0.3, something like that. Didn't give up any runs in high school. And been really good since he's been on campus at LSU.
And another swing and a miss. His 4th game in double figures strikeouts. He's up to 11, matching his season high, and 2 off of his career high.
Buried another slider down and into the righty. Second strikeout in a row. And if you're Drew Dickerson now going to the plate, you've got it all in front of you. He's thrown 1 fastball the last 2 hitters. Now you just sit back on that changeup or that curveball, and if it's in the zone, let it travel and be looking for it.
Dickerson. Deep to left. Is it fair or foul? Foul ball. Boy, that got everybody out of their seats.
The sky is kind of the same color as the baseball. It looked to me like it was clearly fair, but I lost it.
Well, the crowd down the left field line out there by that fair pole, they're not biased or anything, but they thought it was
not at all
a fair ball.
See if you can track the baseball here. It's fair when it passes third base for sure.
Well, you see a guy running over there behind the cover of the bullpen. So I think it just had a little too much hook on it. Loud strike 1 for Drew Dickerson. That's one thing that jumps at you. Coming into this game, Cade Anderson had thrown exactly the same amount of innings as he did last year, 38.1 innings of work. He gave up 2 home runs last year. He's given up 8 home runs this year in the same amount of innings. Not this at bat. Strikeout number 12 for Cade Anderson. Putting on a clinic. 2-0 LSU. LSU 10th ranked Oklahoma. First time LSU's ever been to Norman to play baseball, and they lead 2-0 in their first game at L. Dale Mitchell Park. Boy, Cade Anderson and our Kyson Witherspoon, our 2 starters, have just been fantastic tonight. It's unfortunate that Witherspoon, who's pitched really well tonight, is being overshadowed by the performance of Cade Anderson.
And overshadowed by a couple pitches, like the one to Jared Jones.
Yeah.
Goes in the gap, and then the second run, leadoff double by this guy back in the 5th inning.
Pops him up. Here comes Dayton Taki along with Easton Carmichael. They'll watch that go a few rows deep in the stands. Well, they got some weather coming in this area. It'll be tricky to get in all three of these games. I'm sure that over the last few years, the league has really been aggressive at making sure that the series are completed. However, you got to get them done. So I'm sure they'll find a way, but storms blew through here this morning. It was raining, heck, 30 minutes before first pitch here on a cold, chilly night in Norman. Thought we were through with all this stuff.
The weather. Yeah, April's supposed to be nice. That's what people don't understand. Even college, but in the big leagues too, where you're all over the country. It doesn't get warm till June. I mean, it is tough to hit for the first few months in this cold weather, wind blowing in.
The 1-2 lined off the top of the glove of Dawson Willis. That'll get to the warning track, scooped up there by Harris. And how about the day for Hernandez? Back-to-back doubles now.
Guy can hit. Big 3 years at Indiana State, transfers in this year. A great defensive catcher. Look at him pull the hands in, get the barrel. That's something you really can't teach. That's just repetition. Middle in. Pull the hands in first and then attack the baseball with the barrel. Perfect spot down the line. Second double of the game for Luis Hernandez out of the 7 spot. You get production like that from the 7 hole, and man, you're going to do some damage.
4th double of the night for LSU. And speaking of nights, it'll be over for Kyson Witherspoon. Pitched well. I mean, let's not forget here. LSU is one of the best hitting teams in the country, 3rd in terms of batting average in Division I baseball. They lead the Southeastern Conference, and Witherspoon will leave with 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 6 innings, trailing 2-0.
6 innings, only gave up the 2 earned runs. 100 pitches right on the nose, and just really, really impressive from Kyson Witherspoon. We said he's one of the best in the league, and this is why. The cutter on the inside corner, the slider and cutters that he's burying on these guys. The change up away from the left-handed bat. Struck out a really good hitter, Derek Curiel, right there, up in the zone. Just kind of thinks along with the hitters. He's got 98 miles an hour in his back pocket on that fastball and can manipulate the fastball in different ways. But just the accuracy and the ability to miss bats. Kyson Witherspoon, one of the main reasons all these guys are here to watch him tonight, and he's going to make a lot of money at the next level.
Well, the new arm coming into the game is Jamie Hitt, the senior. Transferred in from Texas Tech out of Magnolia, Texas. 6 feet, 194 pounds, 192 pounds. Lost a couple pounds since they put out the roster. But you see his numbers. His 14th appearance of the year. 3.2 ERA with 17 strikeouts, 6 walks in those 14 innings.
Yeah, he's going to live around 90 miles an hour, 91. Left-handed hitters. Doesn't use the fastball a lot. Use the cutter a little more, and with the slider and the changeup to go around to go with it. The right-handers uses the fastball a lot more. It gets a lot of swing and misses against the left-hander with the slider, as you can imagine, moving away from the barrel. But really good coming out of the pen for the Sooners. He's had a good year so far.
Well, these are the Week 2 UFL matchups. Saturday night on ABC, the DC Defenders host the Memphis Showboats at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And then Sunday on ESPN, it's Houston and Arlington at noon Eastern. Both games also can be seen on ESPN+. The Roughnecks and the Renegades on Sunday. Michael Braswell will step to the plate. He will take over at third base as he hits for Tanner Reeves. Braswell now in his 2nd season with LSU after 2 years at South Carolina. He squares up to bunt. Boy, and did he do a nice job on a pitch that was down at his shoelaces.
How did he get a barrel on that pitch? Right out, cold off the bench too. First pitch he sees. Almost bounces, and he puts a perfect bunt down the third baseline. Look where this pitch is. I mean, if they weren't expecting that, that was picture perfect. But of course, Willis jumps all over it for the first out.
But that gets Hernandez over to third base, similar to what they did the last time Hernandez doubled. And now they'll turn it over to Stanfield, who drove in Hernandez back in the 5th inning. Swing and a miss here. A 9-hole hitter. Picked up his 13th RBI of the year. Oh, they got the runner tied up. Stanfield missed a sign, and they get Hernandez. And Stanfield looks in the dugout like I didn't see it, and Hernandez is thrown out at third.
Yeah, we mentioned they made that call on Stanfield last week against Mississippi State. It wasn't a squeeze, but it was more of a safety bunt, and that looked more like a squeeze call. Hernandez took off. Stanfield didn't see the sign, and he's dead to right. Stanfield got the job done last at bat with the double down the right field line with one out in the same situation. But they're trying to get him to bunt the third run across and just missed the sign.
And it's 0-2 on Stanfield. And he looks at a called third strike. Somebody missed something. Maybe cost LSU a run, but they still lead by 2. List of teams as we turn the corner and head down the home stretch.
Hey, look, they won't host, but don't sleep on the Southland Conference either. We talked about that earlier. They got some good teams. University of Texas Rio Grande Valley was top 20 RPI.
That's out of play to Dayton Taki. You know what I love about watching teams like Coastal Carolina and Southern Miss and Troy is they don't have the resources from a financial standpoint to go rebuild rosters. So the coaching staff, the recruiting guys, they can't afford to miss. You know what I mean? Like if they're getting a guy on campus, they better be able to play.
And not only that, you kind of got to predict like how's this kid going to translate, you know, but I still think what Coastal Carolina did, and it was a different era than what we live in now, in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Was the most impressive thing in all sports. For a mid-major to come and dominate Omaha the way they did, I mean, amazing.
So Taki's retired for out number 1. You look at how the conferences stack up in the D1Baseball.com top 25. 15 of the 25 from the SEC and the ACC. Sun Belt, how about them with 3 teams in there? One more than the Big Ten, one more than the Big 12.
SEC sent 11 schools into the postseason, field of 64, and you said last week you thought it might be, that was a record last year with 11 out of 14. Now we have the 2 extra, 16 teams. The SEC could see 13, 14 teams in the postseason.
Sharply hit. Mila got the play. Good stretch by Jared Jones over there at first.
That was impressive. Remember, Stephen Mila moved from second base over to short. They had that kind of tryout in the fall, and then he got sick. He got mono, so Jay Johnson told us they didn't really get a good look at him at shortstop in the fall. They come out in the spring. Stephen Mila really wanted to play shortstop. Braswell played shortstop last year. And they saw him for a few games and said, yep, we're going to roll with that. And that's why. I mean, look at the play. I mean, you've got to have a strong arm for that reason right there. If you misplay it at all, and he still made the play.
You know, one of his favorite players watching growing up, because he's in from that area, was old Alex Bregman.
Yeah, he could play a little bit. Kid's made $250 million in the big leagues. What a life.
Fouled off at the plate from Harris. He's behind 0-2. Pitch count up to 104 for Cade Anderson.
But it really has worked out well for LSU. I guess if there was a question mark, it was the left side of the infield. But Milam and Braswell, of course, Reeves and Braswell are in a platoon situation at third, have been really solid.
It's new season high pitch-wise for Cade Anderson. 105. He'd gone back-to-back games with 101. And if he can get through this inning, oh, that's just off the plate.
Well, and he needed this, right? He's had a great year, but he had a rough start last week by his standards. 4 innings pitched against Mississippi State, gave up the 5 runs. And then this game didn't start off pretty. Had the bases loaded, got out of it. And then for Cade Anderson to still be out there.
Well, if you're Jay Johnson, I mean, this sets up perfectly, right? You could get Cade, hopefully get him through the 7th if you're Jay Johnson, and then turn it over to Cowan on the back end for a couple innings, get 6 outs. Swing and a miss. Another strikeout. That is 13.
Just dominant. The fastball, the sliders away to the left-hander. Look at that elevation. 13 strikeout.
ESPN Plus, and you can catch it right here on ESPN2. Here it's 2-0 LSU. Game 1 of this 3-game series. Derek Curiel to lead things off. The LSU lineup flips over again. Derek had a double back in the 3rd. Couple of strikeouts. Average at 404. Guy behind him is also hitting 400. Pretty good when you can run out 2 dudes like this at the top of your lineup.
They pulled a guy out of the game that was hitting 400.
That's right.
Tanner Reed. Wealth of talent.
James hit. Thought he had a strikeout. Instead, it's ball 1.
3 infielders on the right side against Derek Curiel. That's kind of the book on him. Ground balls to the right side, fly balls to the left side. Test our theory here if he puts the ball in play.
A fastball fouled off, 92 miles an hour from the left-hander. James hit. Eighth inning here at Mitchell Park in Norman, Oklahoma. Two and two. Oklahoma won 11 straight games out of the gate. Got off to a great start with a revamped roster. Sitting in the middle of the pack in the SEC with a 5-4 conference record, ranked 10th in the country. Boy, knew it. Busted him inside. First out of the inning, and the 3rd time tonight, Curiel goes down on strikes.
That was a nice pitch by James Hitt. As a left-handed hitter, you see that ball inside and give up on it, and then it just comes back over the inside part of the plate. The only way to hit that is to think in your mind you're going to separate that right shoulder a little early and get the barrel out in front. But if you do that, then you're going to be susceptible to everything out and away and the sliders. And so generally with 2 strikes, left-handers looking out over the plate, and that's a perfect pitch for James Hitt for the first out.
First pitch strike to Jared Jones. Did you have a guy, or was it multiple people when you got to the big leagues, that kind of walked you through situations, not necessarily swing guys, but guys that kind of the mental approach to hitting? Did you have, do guys at the big league level, do they spend a lot of time in that area with somebody else?
It was hard early because one of my first at-bats in Cleveland was against a guy named Paul Shuey. And I think he walked me. I know he walked me on, let's call it 6 pitches, 5 pitches. I didn't see any of them. That's why I walked.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know what to ask. Like, wait a second. How do you hit that slider that disappeared at about 30 feet coming at me? And early on, the game was so fast and sped up.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming. And then eventually it slows down. You see enough of it. I played with Paul Molitor. I don't know if it's a regret, but one of the things I wish I would have done is picked his brain a little more. You know, because he was a pure hitter. I mean, I played with Sammy Sosa, played with some big bashers, but I wasn't going to learn a lot from Sammy. We were different players, but Paul just could hit, you know, and Chuck Knobloch.
Yeah.
And one of the things Knobloch told me, and I've said that to my son too, is he came to me and he said, I don't care if I ever hit a home run again, because they're trying to get you to hitting for more power. And I hit 40 doubles one year, and, you know, my hitting coach said, well, that's going to turn into home runs later. And so what it does as a hitter is you think, well, I got to pump the ball.
Yeah,
I got to hit some homers. And Chuck Knobloch told me, I don't care if I ever hit a home run again. I knew what he meant by that. And he ended up hitting 8 that year, whatever. He wasn't a big home run guy. But he put the ball in play. He's looking the other way, and he's taking what the pitcher gives him. And that's what I've relayed to my son at Houston Christian. And it's working, you know.
There's some of the numbers you posted. It was a pretty good college career that translated to a nice little big league career for you.
Hey, man, when I got to LSU, my sole thought was, and all of the stuff we have now with the analytics and launch angle and exit velo, I just didn't want to strike out. I went into college.
Simplify.
Yeah, that's and maybe I was naive, but I said I am not striking out, and let the rest play out, and worked well for me. But I think you get too much information and you're in trouble. And so for me, it had to start with putting the ball in play every time. I'm not smart, but I know if I put the ball in play in 100 at bats every time, you're going to hit for an average.
I like that philosophy, though. Just don't strike out.
Easier said than done, for sure. But
swing and a miss. What an inning for James Hitt. Strikes out the side. The top of the lineup goes down. Curiel joins in Dickinson.
Talk about pulling the string. James Hitt with that changeup just right down the middle. Looks like a fastball. And Daniel Dickinson. Hard to strike out, but not right there. 3 in a row for Oklahoma.
Nothing because of this guy, Cade Anderson. What a night. He's back on the mound. But, Todd, this has been just about a flawless performance as we've seen all year.
Started off rough. 2 base hits and a walk. Bases loaded with 1 out, and he went to work. Struck out the last 2 to end the first inning, and since then just has been dominant with that slider, the elevated fastball. It seems like he's got more heat on that fastball as the game has gone on. He's got 108 pitches, now 109 in this game. So let's go. Let's run him out there. He's been dominant after that first inning.
Ties his career high with 13 strikeouts. It's the 4th time this year he's been in double-figure strikeouts. And he was pumped up after that last one to get out of the 7th inning. Facing Jason Walk at the top of this Sooners lineup. Walk, Carmichael, and Sam Christensen.
Well, he's on a hitter-by-hitter basis now. If he loses Jason Walk, he'd be done.
Three and 1 to count to Walk. Strikeout, ground out, fly out. Little slow roller back to the mound. Going to be a tough play. Fastball over to Bear Jones, and they get him.
A lot going on that play. We talked to Jay Johnson. He said Cade Anderson is an athlete on the mound, and you saw it right there. Not only does he have a cannon, but the ability to jump off the mound and make that play, spin around. He can't pick up the target until when he's almost letting the ball go.
Did he toss that to himself just then?
It almost looked like he kind of flipped it to his hand, and then Jared Jones getting down with it. Nice job on that end, too. But helping himself.
Starts off Carmichael with a breaking ball. Oh, 0-1. Ground ball to third. Braswell scoops, fires, 2 down. Cade Anderson looked at that dugout like, just give me one more. Just give me one more.
Yeah, now you got the left-handed Sam Christensen, who's had 2 base hits off of him already and a walk. So this is the one guy in the lineup that he's had trouble with.
Anderson has retired 8 straight and 12 of the last 13. First pitch strike. Little change up off the plate.
You got to imagine this is his last hitter either way.
Yeah. Pitch count at 117. 1-2. Got him. What a night. What a night for Cade Anderson. A career high 14 strikeouts, 115 pitches through 8 innings, and he looked as fresh as he did in the first inning.
Wow, did he bounce back in a big way after last week's outing? The 2 fastballs and the slider to get the one guy that's gave him trouble, Sam Christensen and Cade Anderson. Have a night, kid.
To lead things off, first pitch fouled off, working against James Hitt, who struck out the side. Matter of fact, James has recorded 4 consecutive strikeouts. In relief of Kyson Witherspoon, who will be on the hook for a loss, but pitched quite well tonight.
Stephen Miles worked his way up, started the year in the 8th spot, partly because of the move over different defensive position. He missed a lot of the fall. Now in the the cleanup spot. Flair for the dramatic, hit 2 walk-off home runs in the same week last year. Remember that in the SEC tournament? Then turned around the regional, hit another walk-off.
High fly ball out to the right side, and that'll be Christensen making the catch for out number 1. And here comes Ethan Fry.
That's it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. They have that cleanup spot is an important spot behind Jared Jones and Daniel Dickinson. Ethan Fry was protecting those guys in the lineup. They put Milam in there, but that's how much they think of Ethan Fry. I mean, this guy has really had a great year.
He's been kind of a project as well for Jay Johnson. And all that work seems to be paying off here in his 3rd year, much like Jared Jones. Rose Pine, am I saying that? Rose Pine, Louisiana? Am I saying
Rose
that
Pine,
right?
yeah, we played. I was a high school coach back in 2014. We played them in the playoffs. Rose Pine.
Well, that's hit a mile in the air. Here's the left fielder. Harris comes in to make the catch. That'll be 2 down. Been impressed with Hitt coming out of the bullpen. He's looked solid. 2 2/3 innings for Hitt. 4 strikeouts, no walks, no hits. That'll work.
Retired 7 in a row. Yeah.
Jake Brown, the right fielder.
These are the at-bats that feel like a tryout a little bit for a left-handed hitter, you know, because Jake Brown is in kind of a platoon situation as well. And lefty on lefty, I know when I came to the plate here, you're like really putting a lot of pressure on yourself to get a base hit, and that's the worst way to approach it, but that's how you feel in these type of situations. And for Jake Brown trying to get an everyday job.
Out to the right side, they had the shift on. Branch was playing deep, comes up, scoops, throws, and Oklahoma getting off the field, going to grab their bats. We're heading to the bottom of the 9th. They're down 2-0. 4, 5, and 6 in the order coming up for Oklahoma. And Cade Anderson back on the mound after a career-high 119 pitches, career-high 14 strikeouts. His longest stint from an inning standpoint this year, or for his career, was 6 1/3 against Missouri earlier this year in their opening series of SEC play, and he'll start things off against Jackson Willits. You and I were talking between innings is like, you know, their coaches, they're charting his velocity, they're charting spin. I mean, they're doing all that stuff, and they feel like he's fresh enough to go back out.
The secondary and third pitches for him have been great. The only thing you're looking for, like you said, is velocity. And like I mentioned earlier, it almost looks like his fastball is getting livelier, like he's getting a little more behind it. And the feedback he gives Nate Yeske and Jay Johnson is, I'm feeling great. They're going to run him back out there. And, I mean, you said it, too. It's like in this day and age, you don't see CGs anymore. Like complete game is unheard of.
Yeah, almost all the complete games we see are the 7-inning varieties.
Yeah.
Here's the 0-2. Bust some down and in. For ball one.
But we talk a lot about aces and the characteristics. You know, you got to have the pitchability, the velocity, the, ability to, have the mentality to be an ace. But one of the things is eating up innings. And wow, for both teams really, but for LSU to not use anybody out of the pen, and you got 2 more games of this series, and you got that 2-headed monster with Case and Evans and Zach Cowan for tomorrow or the next day. I mean, what an advantage it is for an ace to go out there and give you even 7 or 8 innings, but for 9, I mean, that's incredible.
Here's Kyle Branch. Kyle, 3 strikeouts today. Seen his average drop from 333 to 324. He looks at 92. He's lost a couple of miles an hour. He was around 94 for most of those fastballs in the early innings. Little breaking ball, 2 strikes again. Boy, Anderson has just been fantastic. Again, we saw him last week in Baton Rouge, and it wasn't his best stuff that day. Got hit around pretty good.
It felt like he wasn't landing his off speed, so he had to rely too much on his fastball. Tonight, though, his off speed has been on point.
A lazy fly ball out to Jake Brown. That is 2 down. The last 9-inning complete game by an LSU pitcher was June 2nd, 2023. Paul Skeens against Tulane.
Pretty good name there.
That would have been in the regional of 2023. So Trey Gamble, we thought we might get a peek at him. He's a little banged up, which is why one of the reasons he didn't start today, but they're going to pitch hit him here in the 9th, and he'll look at a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. It's 0-1.
And you wonder why lefty on lefty, why we would put a pinch hitter left-hander up there, and it's because Cade is more dominant against the right-hand hitters than he is lefties.
Pitch count at 129. One and 2 on Gamble. Two and 2.
And another reason to put him in here is to give him a little action. I mean, Trey Gamble's Oklahoma's best hitter by stats. He's hit 377 this year.
Fouls him down the line. That'll be out of play. We'll do the 2 and 2 again. Oh, I just missed everybody in that LSU dugout. Thought that was strike 3. Right back to Anderson. Stumbles, fields, throws, and this one's in the books. Anderson retires the last 12 and 16 of the last 17 to get the complete game 5-hit shutout. What a night for LSU.
And especially the way it started out. It didn't look like Cade was going to get out of the first inning. And he goes all 9, only gives up the 5 hits. 14 strikeouts, only the 2 walks. The slider and the changeup were dominant. I mean, he was just completely accurate with a 3-pitch mix. You see the fastball painting the outside corner twice. right by you. Curveball with serious break. He started elevating the fastball later in the game after these hitters